In this video, I want to show you how to create a new column in the jump data table using the formula dialog out of existing columns. So I've got three columns here in this data set: pieces, weight, and net. And what I want to do is create a new column at the end here that is simply the ratio of pieces and weight. So the way that I do that is double click at the end of the spreadsheet where there's just blank space. That's a double click, and I get a new column coming up. If I right click in the top of the column now, one of the things I can do is go to column info, and this is a place where I can give the new column a sensible name. And since I'm going to create it as the ratio, I'll call it P over W. So it's quite clear. Then OK. Now the next thing I want to do is actually create the data that's sitting inside of the column. To do that, I'm going to right click again and go to formula. And what that does is generate for you or present the formula dialog. And so three parts of the screen essentially now. So in this area is where the formula itself is going to appear. Here you can see the columns that we have to work with in the data table, and on the left hand side we actually have a whole suite of predefined functions that we can use to help us build the formula. Now in this particular case, we're not going to do anything really very fancy. We're just going to find the ratio of the first two columns, and we would do that simply by first of all clicking on pieces, and you notice how that appears down here in the formula area. And then we want to divide, and across the top of the screen here you have the basic mathematical functions, the arithmetic functions, and a few other ones like the power function, etc. But all we need to do is divide pieces through by weight, and at that point we can either click apply, and that will create the new column and the dialog will stay open, or if you just say OK, I'm done, we have the new data appearing in that column. So that's how we create a new column. Now I quickly want to go back and just show you some of the other things that are sitting there in the formula dialog, and I can do that by right clicking again, opening up the formula, and I want to discuss what's sitting here on the left hand side. So these are lots and lots of pre-built functions, and perhaps the most common function that we use from a statistical perspective when we're transforming is the log function. And so sitting here under transcendental, you can see various versions of the log function, and it's the first one is the one that you'll use most often, ln. That is the natural logarithm, and we like that one because it has a good interpretation. It's also got the log base 10 here, and there's the opportunity, if you wanted to create the logarithm to any base that you were interested in. So we also have, since we talked about the log, the one above it is the exponential function, e to the power, the inverse of the log function. So there are lots of functions sitting in there, and pretty much anything you can imagine you want is going to be found there. And there are, very quickly, things like if is helpful, so you can create some conditional, a formula that's based on a conditional statement. So lots of things there. But the key idea is you create a new column by double clicking at the end of the spreadsheet and working through the formula dialog to create the exact variable that you want to analyze.